Hello. I continue my Tripscode tutorial here, and in this video we are going to explore what is going on in start movement function. And before we do this, we take a look in which places and in what context this function is called and how many times. To do this we are searching for occurrences, and we see that in 3 places we get this movement, start of movement. And what this start movement does, it can be in various contexts. For instance, when we move a camera, then it is movement. Then when we move a transformer, then it is also a movement. And the third place where something is moved are the curve components or elements, for instance curve CPs. And let's take a look what this curve movement is. I start up this program. This console also there. And to demonstrate this curve movement and what it is about, I just open up a file, a simple file, and I push a page up to increase the subdivision levels. Also, this is a feature in this program. And let's add some curves here. I just click those 2 polygons, press Shift L to make a loop selection of it. Then I press C and I get this edge selection out of it. And once more, and Control P should add those curves. And I can flip view with F. And we see here some erroneous behavior. With Alt P I can change it, but anyway I add curves into back side also. Let's escape this selection, and I escape this one, do this, and I press also 2 times C, Control P, Control P. This way we can add curves to those objects. And I flip the view again. Control G to rotate the view. And when I wish to move a curve, then I go into curve mode. And I should be able to select a curve or deselect. Let's be in polygon mode. No, object mode. No, I click select here with this curve selection and Shift G, and I can move this curve, for instance. And then I can cancel this movement also. And then when I am in vertice mode, while I am in curve mode, then I can select, for instance, a single curved CP and press Shift G and start moving this one. And this looks like a manipulation of geometry. And another thing to note, when I am in curve mode, then I can just start a new curve. For instance, if I I press object mode, press escape, and when I press A, then I can start new curve here. And this one is also involved with movement. And also when I draw in bind mode, something like bones, pressing B, then I also the movement is involved. So we see that this movement function is very wide range tasks involves, and all the movement starts with then with start movement. And let's take a look where the start movement occurs. Here we see in the first instance that it states as else if curve mode, and that this is about pressing this A button. This message 30 is A button, and from all those instances it finds out when we are in curve mode, then we start drawing a curve, and then we start a new CP control point in the curve, then we can move it into a new position, then with mouse click we just place this CP. And we saw that here it has this start movement, and beforehand it creates a curve when it's not created, and determines when a curve is under construction, and when those prerequisites are met, then it starts this really the curve drawing. And first off we see that it puts curve mode into on, and this way we can draw a curve there. And let's take a look at another instance, and this one is if not edge weights. This means if you are not changing the edge weights, I have also the CP weights and the edge weights and vertice weights. This is also involves some mouse movement, but this is not necessarily the movement, because it can be also simply a mouse pointer distance from the starting point, but the movement really involves the cursor projection into a viewer plane. This is more complicated stuff, and we see here start movement happens also when we manipulate the camera, for instance. And what this number 31 is, let's check out. I just search it one more time. Is this G, Control G, or Shift G was the movement. And finally, let's check out where this final instance of the start movement function is. And we see message 36. Let's check out what this message is. This is B. This is the bone occurrence when we are in bind mode and press B, then it starts bone drawing function. And we see here also that it checks for conditions and sets bone mode to 1. and start the manipulation of this concrete transformer that is the bone end transformer. And let's check then out this start movement function. This prepares the movement, this function, and while it's moving, then it uses the function make movement. The preparation work is in start movement, and our goal here is to prepare ourselves to the next step. As with curves we can manipulate curves, then we should be able also to manipulate those vertices themselves, whether they are connected simply to a selection or to polygon selection or edge selection. It depends what mode we are in, and we should take preparation steps when we start movement, and those preparation steps involve let's check out the example for the curves and curve CPs. And here we see start movement, and let's collapse this if statement. Here it involves also camera rotation also, and else it's negative. But we are in this block if that states if shift was pressed, or we are in bones mode or curve mode. And when we have this new mode, modeling mode, then we should probably add this new mode also somewhere here in this condition. But let's check out this example, the curve manipulation. Let's see when we are in curve mode, then we should be able to start those preparations here. First off, it finds connected curves. For instance, when a curve is intersects another curve, and the certain control point connects them, then those connections should be found. And this is not essential with vertex manipulation that we should be prepared of, but we should have this example as a guideline when we do take those steps. And when we are not in curve mode, those capitalized curve mode, as we remember, was the curve drawing mode. It is not a curve manipulation mode, but curve drawing, when we add new curve, construct a new curve, and add those control points to this. And this is not important, meaning we should be not in this curve construction mode. We check vertex mode, then CP manipulation is turned on, else is curve manipulation. Maybe in the future somebody could add also curve segment manipulation when we are in edge mode, but right now it's not implemented. And here we see also find connected objects. This is interesting. Let's take a look at it. Meaning we could manipulate multiple curves over multiple objects. This is also interesting. We go back to this place. And then we check if draw locators, meaning when locators are turned on, we see them, then those locator manipulation preparation is made, meaning those locators are transformers, and we see here, remember the former object curves pose. And this is here. Okay, this is preparation work for if we are in curves mode or bones mode. And let's take a look further. Then we see those checks for the projection type. If we could have several views, split view or a single view, then we have this screen point to vector function, and then we use this D here. Afterwards, I don't see where this is used, but here we see curve mode, curve manipulations, not bones mode, selected curves. Here we see drag buffer when this view projection is turned on. Then we see this wind set component here. And we see that D is used here also. So and here we see another round of preparation for those for the starting team. Here we see if we have curve mode and CP manipulation. This was determined before. Then we prepare this cancel operation. When we start movement, then we can cancel with right mouse button. Then it goes into a starting position, all those vertices or whatever we started to move, then we can cancel. And for this to be able to happen, then we should store those original positions before we start moving. And here we see transfer pos to CP pos. Let's take a look at this function. Here we see for selected curves, selects the curve and scrolls those curve control points. And if a control point is selected, then remember position is stored. This is capitalized pos. And the current position is this lowercase pos. So remember, if it's curve manipulation, curves CP pos. Let's take a look shortly at it also. This is the same thing, only with a minor difference. We should not be scrolling those CPs for selections, but all the control points inside the curve get stored into a member variable inside this control point. We see this is a CP. Let's go backwards. again. And when we see this curve mode, then a single store happens here, not a separate function call. Then we get a more complicated preparation for transformer movement, and this is really complex, because when we have animated character and we move, for instance, a wrist transformer that is inverse kind cinematics applied to it, then the whole chain, cinematics chain changes the location, and this very, very rich system here. That's why it is also very complicated, but we don't explore it right now, because it's not our purpose. Our next step is to create only this vertice manipulation with movement, and later with rotation and scale functions. And as a guideline, or as an example, we use this CP manipulation and curve manipulation examples that are also already there. Alright, this is about this movement starting theme, and here we should be able then, when we start in modeling mode, the vertice manipulation, then we should be able to store those vertice original points into vertices. And let's take a look at this vertice structure shortly, to be convinced that those vertices also have something like store variables there, with capitalized position variables, maybe. Let's take a look here. When we see curves, let's take a look here. We see struct curve segment, struct CP, and here we see this capitalized variant of the position. And this is was used to store those original coordinates. But let's take a look at the object. In object file, the vertice structure should be also here, and we see vertices have some sort of coordinates, but not coordinate to store those positions. We see 3 sets of coordinates. These are the original coordinates, then we get those morphed coordinates that the talk is about. We should be able to create those morph maps from those changed positions, and then we get those transformed coordinates that finally get uploaded into a graphics engine, and then the picture is drawn to the user in the view. But those transformed coordinates then are derived from morphed coordinates that currently are really the same as the original coordinates. But if we have morph maps, then we should be able to drive those original coordinates into morphed coordinates, and then we get those animation capability later. But it's a really big challenge to code this, and that's why we should be prepared in every step that is taken here in this program. And what to do probably we should add another 3 coordinates that are used to store those original placements, maybe. Then this vertice structure gets really big. Anyway,